as Nissan likes to remind us, they were the first to mass produce an electric vehicle for, well, the masses. And they've done a phenomenal job at initiating the process of the transition to electric vehicles globally. Now, I think at one point in the late 2000s, say 2008, 2009, when they were working on the plans to develop the Leaf, they were hoping that the Leaf was going to define the brand as, say, the Prius did for Toyota. Now, whether or not that actually worked, for better or for worse, given where the electric vehicle market is today, it's tough to say, but I think they're on the right track, definitely with the Aria and the Leaf. Though it could be said that the Aria might not be exactly what EV fans wanted from Nissan, given their experience that they gained from selling over 700,000 Leafs over the years that have traveled collectively over 12 billion kilometers. Anyhow, before me is a brand new, all new, third generation 2026 Leaf. This is, I suppose, a rebirth in one way, would be one way to put it, because the Leaf has now gained a new personality. It is no longer a small hatchback as it once was. Now this is more of a crossover, an SUV. As we very, very well know, cars have just essentially been, well, they're dying a slow, painful death. They're going to be all replaced by SUVs and crossovers. This is my first opportunity, my first contact with the Leaf. So what I'm going to do in the probably briefer than usual video is do a walk around and point out a few things about the Leaf. What I can tell you right now is that pricing and availability of the car will only be known and become available later on in the fall of 2025. So in the following video, I'm going to do a walk around as well. Well, no, see, I almost fell for my own trap there. There won't be a drive. That will come later. So hang in there. So as I was saying, you can see that the styling is very, very different from the previous generation Leaf. The first thing, maybe, and this is kind of interesting because the car is actually smaller than the outgoing second generation Leaf. Overall, and I kid you not, because as I stare at the car, it's not as tall. The wheelbase is shorter. Overall length is actually shorter too. The only thing physically that changes on the plus side is, well, it's a little bit wider, but barely, like a few millimeters, that's it. Now, this color, called Sea Breeze, is actually kind of cool. It's the introductory color for the car. And I'll save my comments as far as styling is concerned for another time, or when I actually do get to review the vehicle. The important things are, oh, these are kind of neat notes. You won't see them because the lights are not on. But there's a lot of 2 and 3 numbers layout, all or shown across the car, because in Japanese, 2 is ni and 3 is san. So that's kind of neat. That's something that you also see here, right? So 2 and 3, and the headlights too also have a similar layout. By the way, while I'm at the charge port, this is kind of interesting. This is a J1772 port, so it's like your level 2 home charger. Perfect, but that's just part of the game. See, Nissan figured, you know, why bother with an adapter when you could just give your customers options? So there you go. So that's how you get your DC fast charge only. See, that actually is kind of cool. It seems like a very expensive alternative to an adapter, but hey, I'm not the one footing the bill for this. Yeah, the rear handles are back. That's just something you have to get used to. I guess we can look at the inside very quickly. So the trunk reveals about 566 liters of usable boot space. There's actually a lot of room under this shelf. It's very well thought out. I mean, I think you can do a lot with this. And this is, remember, despite the fact that the car is actually a little bit shorter than previous. Now, this is obviously a top trim car, but there are a number of things you need to know. So zero gravity seats in the front and the back. Standard equipment in the car for the S and S Plus. You have twin 12.3 inch displays. This is the twin 14.3 inch displays. Zero gravity seats. Now, as we continue to do the walk around, there are going to be two batteries for this car. This one has the larger battery, it's the Plus. It's a 75 kilowatt hour unit, which will give you up to 488 kilometers of range for the S Plus. So it actually goes down when you get to the SV and the Platinum. The charging speed is 150 kilowatts, which is fairly standard for your average EV today in 2025. Overall, I mean, the standard equipment, you also get a heat pump, you get heated front seats. There's a number of features that are included in here. Pricing, as I noted, not yet available, but I'm thinking that even for the base car, which will be available a little bit later, just the regular S, it will feature a 53 kilowatt hour battery. I'm assuming that it's going to be right around $45,000 with the Platinum. Say this one probably scooching around, nudging the $60,000 mark, which seems like a lot of money, but the way the car business is going in Canada right now, everything, absolutely everything is expensive. Anyhow, that's about it for this initial tour of the all-new third generation 2026 Nissan Leaf. And we'll end on a shot of the very minimalist interior, which I actually quite like. Storage is actually quite good. In fact, well, actually, we'll end it right there, and we'll go for a drive next time.